welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams, and we are back with another 24/7 news report. Our headline news that we open with today is the news that Everton are in talks with former Juventus manager Andre Pirlo. That's right, obviously Pirlo left the club this season. The news has come from Montblanc official. I personally think that this is... I think personally Pirlo might be a little bit inexperienced to take the role of a Premier League club. Obviously he had the Juventus job, but I think he got that on the technicality that he's a legend at the club. And obviously Juventus, you've got Ronaldo playing there, and a certain pedigree of players. I don't know if he's cut out to rebuild the team this early on in his managerial career. It's hard to say if he's that type of manager, or if he's one of those ones who comes in and works with superstars. Either way, I don't know if that makes him the best fit for us, but we'll have to see, what happens with that. We also have news coming from the Football Insider that Carlo Ancelotti wants to sign Everton forward Richarlison. It's believed that Everton are willing to listen to offers for the player if he pushes for a move. For me, this isn't a surprise. I think we knew that once... Well, it is and it isn't. I think we knew that certain players were going to go once Ancelotti went. But let's be honest, we all thought that would be James Rodriguez. It'd be quite hard to see Richarlison go. I think he's a fan favourite. I know people, say he never looks happy sometimes. But I think he is happy at the club. And he's a fan favourite. He plays up to the fans when there's crowds in. He loves the chant. So this would be quite a hard one when he leaves. If he leaves, obviously. And this would be quite a hard one to take. Obviously, Everton would want to recoup somewhere around the 50 million that we spent for him. I think that's without the add-ons, but we'd want to make back at least 50 million for him. So Real Madrid would have to offer us a big offer. And at this current point, they still aren't guaranteed. They might be banned from Europe. But obviously it's Real Madrid, and I think that would be a big enough draw for Richarlison. But we'll have to wait and see. Personally, I hope he stays. We also have news from the Liverpool Echo that Everton are open to the idea of appointing somebody who hasn't yet managed in the Premier League. Obviously, this is a risk, but it's good. I think it's good to see. Obviously, you could argue we should go for somebody who knows the Prem, and that's the worry with a lot of the candidates that I've seen on the list. A lot of them I really like the look of, but they've never managed in the Prem, and that's a tough job. We've seen lots of managers come from abroad, in other teams in the Premier League, and they've not done as well, and it's because they've not adjusted to the Premier League. And we've seen players as well, great players. Timo Werner this year is struggling. He came from the Bundesliga, and he's struggling. It's so much more physical in the Prem, but I think it's good. I think that means that Everton are broadening their horizon a little bit, and this is a good thing in my point of view. Sometimes you have to take that risk to guarantee success, and sometimes the safest option isn't always the best option. So I'm quite happy that Everton are at least extending their scope for a manager outside of the Premier League. We also have reports that Carlo Ancelotti's representatives approached Real Madrid to make them aware that Ancelotti was unhappy at Everton and wanted to leave. They told Madrid that there was a clause in Ancelotti's contract that would make it easy for him to leave Everton. This has come from Duncan Castle at the Transfer Podcast. The more you hear about this, I'm thinking more Ancelotti's comments about us in the press conference. The way he left already had a massive stink over it, especially with how against the Super League he was less than a month ago. And obviously Real Madrid's Perez is one of the biggest people pushing for that. This to me starts to, he was a likeable guy when he was with us, and the more you see now and the more the way he left and the nature of him leaving, I don't think I've seen a guy go from hero to zero quite as fast. And if this is true, I'm quite disappointed in him, and I'm quite hurt, to be fair. I had a lot of respect for Carlo Ancelotti, and I really liked him at us. I thought he got the club, he's on about walks in Crosby Beach, the project. He really sold it to us. And if these are true, then, The Transfer Podcast had also reported that this clause in Ancelotti's contract allows him to leave to certain clubs with no compensation, and Ancelotti knew of Zidane's departure 3 days before it was made public knowledge. Again, I mean, if this is the case and we haven't had any compensation for Ancelotti, a bit of me thinks silly on us as a club for putting in such a clause, because a manager of that pedigree was always going to get top clubs after him. I think we all knew that we'd have to fight off some clubs at some point. So if that was the case, it's a bit silly. It also means we've lost a manager for absolutely nothing. He was on a 4-year contract with us. But again, the fact he knew days before, it does feel like he's gone behind our back a bit. And from what I can gather, the fan base on Twitter reactions is quite upsetting. I think a lot of the fan base feel hurt. We do have some transfer news though. Everton are interested in signing Chelsea's midfielder Ruben Loftus-Cheek this summer. We're not just the only club after him. You've got Aston Villa and you've got Southampton as well, who also want the midfielder's signature. And this has come from the Daily Mail. This isn't, I think personally this is, I don't know how you can speculate without a manager being in, but I think Loftus-Cheek's a good player with a lot of potential that he's not quite seen or getting the chance to show at Chelsea. He can also play a number of positions. We've seen him at CDM. He can play anywhere in that midfield, even cam. And he was even playing striker at one point in his career. I don't think that's where we'll stick him. But he could be a fresh set of legs for our midfield. If we can keep Allen and Decore and we get him, that's a midfield with a lot of leg. It obviously begs the question what happens then though, because we'll have Sigurdsson, Gomez and Tom Davis, who will then not get games. But you'll probably keep them for rotation anyway. I think one of the biggest things we've learnt this season is our squad needs better options for injuries and rotation. So the more depth that we can add to that midfield, the better, personally, I feel. We also have the news that Maurizio Sarri is in contention for a Premier League return with Everton. This has come from Calcio Mercato. We ran a poll on the Toffee Blues Twitter account asking fans, would you take Sarri at Everton? And an astonishing 4,597 voted. 67% said yes, 33% said no. Let us know your thoughts on this poll. The poll is still open till tomorrow, so go follow the Toffee Blues on Twitter and have your say by voting in the poll. And also, like always, let us know down below in the comments section about anything we've discussed in this video. But let us know, do you think Sarri would be a good fit? Do you think it's the right time for him to return and Everton are the right club to return to in the Premier League? We also have that the Liverpool Echo have reported Everton have received more than 40 applications within 24 hours of Ancelotti leaving the role. Apparently Marcel Brands is also going through that list with a fine-toothed comb to see who he likes on this list. I quite like this. I like that 40 applicants have been made. If these are 40, you know, a lot of these will be good caliber managers. It just shows how big of a project and how exciting we are to other managers that 40 in 24 hours want to manage us. The Liverpool Echo have also reported that we are in advanced talks with Nuno Espirito, but Everton aren't anywhere near making an appointment yet because they want to see the other options. And finally, the Echo have reported again that Everton are expected to hold talks with other candidates from that list as the weeks go on. I personally think this is the right direction for us. I think as a club sometimes we've picked the quickest or the easiest option. Not so much Ancelotti, I'm talking the Silva. Silva was nailed on rumoured, and I feel like we went with the most, at Watford, he was rumoured, he stayed, we got Allardyce, and he came in. He was always going to be the manager. And I think in the past we've gone with the most obvious or the most hyped or the safest option. So it's nice to see Everton taking the time a bit, and I personally am all for this. Take our time, assess every candidate on that list, assess them properly, ask them questions, see how they've done, what style of play, I think this is the most important, what style of play, their team club ethos, does it match our club ethos, can we get some sort of identity at the club and pick a manager that suits the identity. I personally feel like Everton play better on aggressive football. high pressing, aggressive, you know, get in their face, and I think we play better crossing in. I think we're a crossing in the box team. You know, obviously we've got DCL, who's fantastic in the air. We've got the likes of Luca Dean. We've always been good with overlapping fullbacks. I think you need a manager who's going to suit that style, because that's the Everton way. Aggressive, pass it out to the wings, the fullbacks overlap, or the wingers run on, cross it in, and we've always had quite a big lad in up front, or quite a good lad in the air up front. But that's my opinion. Obviously, you guys might, you know, you might think it's dead obvious and we should make an appointment straight away. But that's all we have time for with the 24/7 news. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below anything we've spoken about on this. Would you take Nuno at Everton? Your thoughts on Ancelotti and the rumours coming out since he's left? Do you think Sarri would fit us? And do you think we should be talking to the 40, or do you think it's an obvious choice? If you think it's a dead obvious choice as well, don't forget to let us know down below. You can also follow me and the Toffee Blues on Twitter. Our socials will be in the description below. And get onto the Toffee Blues and follow them and vote in that poll about Sarri. Have your voice known in that poll. Would you take Sarri, yes or no? But that's all we've got time for today. Thank you.